This episode is powered by Anivia Pickleball. Based in the heart of Vancouver, BC, whether you're new to the game or a seasoned vet, they have the paddle for you. I myself am currently using their Voltex Gen 3 Pro, which comes in both mid and lightweight. A big thank you for the team at Anivia for taking a chance on me in this podcast. And for listeners of the podcast, if you enter AGorman15 at checkout, you get 15% off. Check out Anivia.com now. That's AGORMAN 15 at checkout. On with the show. All right, welcome back, everyone. Well, we had a busy month. There was trades galore. Me and Irene went to CNPL. Victor was at a tournament. So let's get right into it. How's it going, Victor?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, mentally exhausted now from the past weekend, but doing good. How did your tournament go?
Oh, it's good. Well, hi everyone. I'm back again. So yeah, we have that Lucky of Irish in Stony Plain tournament. So that was about, I think, in right at the St. Patrick's Day during that weekend. So this is my first tournament that I'm playing as a true men's 4.0. Because I have been sandbagging at 3.5, and unfortunately, due to the tournament rating, it's not like I can do anything about it, right? It was actually fun, but it was not a walk in the park. I was telling you. So how this works? So this is actually the first sanctioned pickleball Canada sanctioned tournament in Alberta this year. So they did a good job to cap it to 200 participants because they don't have a lot of courts, right? They only have about 6 court in that area. So let me just do a quick explanation how the venue is. It's basically like a polished concrete. They have only pickleball lines on there, and they're using that temporary nets. And the ball they're using is the Onyx Orange indoor ball. So that ball you have to get a little bit adjust to it because it does not bounce like an outdoor ball. It bounces a little higher. And I feel because of the venue is very humid, like every lob shot or like higher shot, it does not travel as fast. So therefore those balls usually you expect, oh, it's above my shoulders going out. They like land in right into the baseline. You're like, so you kind of throw you off a little bit. You have to get used to it, and the bounce is also a little odd because it's a little higher. The other thing that's has a little disadvantage for me, especially about the new generation paddle that has like a lot of grit. Unfortunately, on that ball, it seems like it does not work. Like you cannot really generate a lot of spin on this ball compared to our Franklin X40 or the Durafast. So that was kind of a little bit interesting how it works. But well, we still manage, right? Well, what else? This is the first time they actually have a referee for every match because they use if I'm not mistaken, my first time playing tournament was in 2011, and that was the tournament that I actually first started with my father, and we just get we're first time playing, so we just get demolished, unfortunately. but anyway, and they didn't have any ref at this point. This time they do have ref for every match. I did ref also a lot of match. I did ref the women's doubles and the mixed doubles. Obviously, I didn't ref men's doubles because I play, and there's a reason why also I did not ref because I won. so because when you do not win, then you go ref, right? so And anyway, so yeah, it was a good experience. So for our bracket, we do have around, if I'm not mistaken, we have 16, 17. I think I'm not mistaken. We have 7 teams. There's like a round robin that go for all those 7 teams. We went 5-1 on those round robin, so we still finished first. We lost the first game, unfortunately, because my partner Lester Lim, shout out to him. I'll explain why I gotta have a good I have to shout out to him. So we have a slow start. I think we were a little bit nervous playing in our first 4.0 bracket, so it didn't went well. But didn't went well. It's not really the case. We're just nervous. We lost 13-11, so it's not like we lost by a lot. And this is only 1 game to 11. So so on the round robins, 1 game to 11. And then when they have that seedings, so the top 4 will make it to the same semifinal. That's applicable for all the other brackets. So the number 1 plays against the number 4. The number 2 plays against number 3 on the semifinals, right? After the semifinals, the winner of the semifinals go to the gold medal match. The loser of the semifinal will go to the bronze medal match. So that's how it works out. Our semifinal match was quite tight. We won, but barely, 14-12. So and we were down. We were again. We were down 8-10. Like they have like basically 2 match point. They have like it was side out. They are serving. For some reason, Lester just went beast mode. He just clutched every ball possible at the opponent, and then game over. That was the match. So it was pretty interesting. And then now we made it to the gold medal match, and we have I guess we a little bit underestimated them because during round robin we beat them really badly. We beat them 11-2. So on the final match and the first game, so this on the final match now is a little bit different. It's not a 1 game to 11 anymore. Now it becomes best 2 of 3 to 11. For the bronze medal, it's a best of 1 game to 15. So that's a little different. So this one, we won the first game pretty easily, 11-5. You're like, you're doing good. Second game, we went to 9-9. And then we could have finished it off, but we just couldn't for some reason. And we lost 11-9. Third game, even worse. We have side out at 6-1. Well, not side out, and change 6-1. So you're like, oh my God, like you're like you are winning, right? And then after that, we're back down 8-10. Same thing happened. They have two match point. They couldn't convert. Same thing happened. Lester just clutch again, 4 points right into the chest of my opponent. Game over.
That's awesome.
12-10. So that was really interesting match. So that's a big shout out to my partner because otherwise we could have choked it. But at the same time, both me and him was really clutch at the very important moment. We didn't give the opponent any chance to finish us off. So like they're just 1 point, but from winning. But I think that's the important part, right? If your mental was good, that's you're gonna hold off your match. And the other thing we're also saying, if you're leading by a lot, and you usually have a tendency to kind of lose because the team coming from behind will kind of come up from the road because they have like, I have nothing to lose. I'm gonna start swinging, right? So I guess that's how it's working.
Yeah, it's that whole keep your foot on the gas pedal type of
you cannot let go. You let go, it's game over.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, my mom also plays, so she did win 3.0 women's double bronze. So shout outs to her too. And her bronze medal match was a little bit of blowout. She gave a Pico 15-0 to the opponent. So
shout
they're
out to her then. Just so everyone knows, Victor's mom is awesome. She's at all of his matches. Every time I'm playing against him or with him, she's her and his dad are always there cheering him on. She's a great ref as well. So big shout out to her for that win.
Thank you so much. So yeah, and then we just look at our tournament rating. Apparently, if we keep winning, Lester cannot play 4.0 anymore. He has to play 4.5.
Lester, keep winning so I can steal Victor from you.
Yeah, so
I need to bump up into 4.0 because I'm stuck at like 3.7 right now because I can't find a consistent partner.
Yeah, so Lester went from 4.0 to 4.3 now, and I went from 3.7 to 3.9.
Perfect. That's a great jump. So that means you guys were playing some pretty high ranked people as well.
Yeah, so exactly. So that gold medal match guy, those two guys, I did went back to their tournament rating and their previous matches. They actually play 4.0s, and they are like their ratings about 4.2 to 4.3. So they are really good guys, and they actually really adapted their game during that gold medal match because they were losing, and they switch up their tactics, and we kind of didn't keep up with them until the very end.
That's good. Great for you guys to be able to adjust on the fly as well. That sounds awesome. And from my experience playing in this tournament last year, I obviously didn't get to go this year, but they seem to learn from what happened last year because it's they went over 200 participants last year, and I don't think they were expecting that many. So then they had a little bit of issues with scheduling. I know last year there was no refs until you got to like semis and finals. So the fact that they had refs for everything, that's awesome as well. Last year they used the outdoor ball.
Okay.
And this year they switched to the indoor ball. I found last year with the outdoor ball on that concrete, it skipped really, really bad. And I think you and me talked about this when we played together in the last team term where I was saying, oh yeah, your serve's going to kick butt because it's going to skip. So it's interesting that they switched to the indoor. My experience playing on polished concrete, because again, you know this from nationals in the center there, they have the polished concrete. At nationals last year, they used the outdoor ball, but then the year before that at Western Regionals, they used the composite indoor-outdoor ball. I find that ball gives the truest bounce on polished concrete because it's like that in between of the soft indoor ball and then the hard outdoor. Because on the concrete, because I play with the indoor Onyx all the time because we play at a rec center here when that's like hardwood floor, and like when you said you couldn't get any spin, I'm like, really? I get a crap ton of spin with those balls. So I'm guessing it's how the type of flooring, and probably because the ball skips, so it basically counteracts the spin that you put on.
I can't. I think I have to clarify that you have like if you put tons of underspin, it will really skip. But if you put a lot of topspin, it's kind of not working on topspin. Like the underspin works, but not the topspin.
Yeah, and I find that's the that's got to be the floor because when I use like when we use that ball at our club here in Peace River, I get a crap ton of good top spin with that. But like what you said, where the ball does move slower, that is true. Indoor balls do move slower than outdoor. It's funny because it's almost a little bit of a different game because the outdoor ball creates like a faster game. So there's a lot more hand battles. There's a lot more speed ups and stuff. Whereas with the indoor ball, you have to turn into a chess match because even your speed ups aren't as fast. But then like your lobs and then your shots, because the ball moves slower, you're more likely to get that lob to drop right in the back of the court. Or like if you hit that that power top spin shot, normally if it was an outdoor ball that would sail out, but then the top spin is enough that it would come back in and land in just before hitting out. So it's interesting, like as someone who plays probably with the indoor ball more than the outdoor ball, and then you're the opposite of that. It's interesting how that works. But yeah, my thing then, if that was your experience with this indoor ball, would be to get those composite balls. Now, mind you, if that's the only tournament they're putting on every year, that's probably not financially a thing to do. So I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to think which one would be better on that polished concrete, though. I'd say probably the orange is probably still better than the indoor, because I found with the indoor, you literally had to speed up everything, because anytime you tried to, like, say if you did your serve, Victor, if I tried to put like a spin return on that, it was just going to skip and then die off my paddle and then go into the net or not even reach the net. So it ended up being like someone would do a serve, and then I would just be powering it back, and then a third shot drop would just be a third shot drive until you almost turned it into a fourth shot drop type thing is what you had to do, because once you got up to the net, then you could dink and stuff. But yeah, before that, you wouldn't be able to do any of that. So it's interesting. It's interesting how that works. But I'm super stoked that they had refs for everything. The round robin sounds the same, and the finals sound the same as what they did the year before. So it's nice to see that they're adapting and understanding what their capacity limit is. That they maxed it out at 200 people there. So that's awesome. And congrats to you guys, and congrats to your mom. That's an awesome showing.
Yeah, thank you. Was good, and yeah, same for mixed in mixed double. So Lester won 4.0 mixed double with her partner. So he did win 2 4.0 event first time for him, winning 2 goals in a row. So big shout out to him.
Right on. Who is his partner for this one?
Diane Gibbs.
Oh yeah, Diane's awesome.
Yeah, I did. We did play together on that teams event. Not the one that we played together, but the one before.
Yeah.
And Lester's gonna be she will be Lester's regular partner.
Oh, good. That's a good matchup for me and Irene then.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And I was just gonna do a quick clarification from our last podcast since we're in tournament.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, so what I have mentioned that the Pickleball Alberta provincial was supposed, according to Pickleball brackets, now they are updated. I said it in August, but that's not true. The right date should be 11 to 14 July at Red Deer. So
yeah, because when you said that after we were done the podcast, I went and checked, and the mistake that got made is they picked 2025. So it said the August whatever, but then it was like 2025. So I think that's what caused the mess up with that, because I know I ended up posting for Pickleball Alberta the correct date for it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Is it up on brackets yet or not yet?
I don't think so. I checked a couple of times.
I don't know if it's because of the mess up there, if they're still trying to fix. Maybe there was a glitch there, and now that it's not letting them post or something again. But I would assume it's going to get posted up pretty quickly here, just so people can start registering. Because now we're getting to the point where you should start registering pretty quickly here for events like that.
Back to you now. Like you have a big weekend. Like you went to Vernon for that CNPL. Tell me about that.
Oh man, the CNPL was nuts. So before we get into me and Irene's weekend, of course, another trade happened right after we did our podcast.
Yeah.
The Vancouver Rush traded Kim Layton and Christina Chin to the Toronto Smash for Jordan Vigna and Leah Bradwell. They also did a pick swap, so the 3rd, 4th, and 5th picks are gonna flip flop. So I heard some scuttlebutt of why this trade happened, because if you look at it on paper, this isn't a good trade for the Rush. You're trading away the
best woman. Yeah, exactly.
The 2 top females basically in the entire league, you're trading away for now. That's no discard for Jordan and Leah, but Jordan and Leah, and then a 3rd, 4th, and 5th pick. So yes, you get to move up in the draft order a little bit for those next 3 picks, but that's a big drop off in talent when you have basically the number 1 and number 2 female.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
So there's some rumors around that, because they're 3rd and 4th party given to me. I'm not really going to give them any clarification with that. There was apparently issues with stuff, but I'm not going to promote any of that. I don't we're not a tabloid, so. But it was the rumors that got 3rd party or 4th party said to me were what you kind of see in like a tabloid magazine. So I'm not going to give those any too much weight. But it's interesting to see how what the Rush are going to do, because they got Vigna, they got Bradwell, and then they have Brett Forsett, obviously kept himself because he's still the owner of the team and the GM. And then with the Rush having Layton and Chin, basically if they can grab 2 decent guys at the top and then just fill out those 2 alternate spots in the draft. It'll be really interesting to see who they go with. So
Oh yeah,
enough about that.
especially
Yeah. But enough about that. We'll get
especially.
to the draft after that. So, but
I was about to say, especially Kim and Christina, they did play a lot of times together. They have good chemistry already.
oh yeah,
So
and I got to watch them play at nationals where they won gold. So, and like the team they played was Kim Brent, and I'm blanking on her name right now, but Kim Brent's partner is in the CPA Pro Tour, but I don't know why I'm blanking on her name, but they gave it a good fight, but it was clearly Christina and Kim, like wasn't very much doubt that they weren't gonna win type of thing. So like the Smash now probably have the top rated women's pairing. So even if you punt on one of the male picks, there's a good chance they can consistently win when it comes down to matches and stuff come the season. But like I said, we'll get into that once we go into the draft part. But so yeah, last weekend, me and Irene went to the CNPL West Qualifier. It was the last qualifier of the year for this, and it got switched to 1 day instead of a 2 day event just because there wasn't as many people signed up. And the main reason why is because all the insanely good players from the West all got re-signed.
oh yeah, then what's the point, right?
Kim Layton got re-signed, Brad Chapman got re-signed, Joel and Haddo got re-signed, like Leah Bradwell got re-signed. So a lot of them all got re-signed. So it was still a very deep men's pool. Like I did okay. My first game, I don't know why, but I got super, super nervous and did not play very, very well. And then after that, I didn't win as much as I would have liked to. When we, because what we did in the morning, we started with women's doubles and men's doubles, and then in the afternoon we switched into mix. So for the men's, I only got one win out of about 7 matches, but all of the matches were like 18-21, 19-20, 20-21. So
they're all rally scoring, right?
yeah, all rally scoring, and there was lots and lots of really good rallies. Most of the time I played on the right, just because majority of the guys I'm playing with are like all 5-0, 5-0, like 5-5 type players. Like they're all like high level, used to playing at that. Whereas I was probably one of the few 4-5 guys there. If I go by like Duper rating or like whatever with that. So they tried to pick on me a little bit. I found where I need to improve for myself is my transition from the baseline to the kitchen, especially at that level, because it is relentless. Once you're playing up at that level, there's no such thing as like a little soft shot after you do, even if you do a very, very good third shot drop. They're top spinning that thing back at you. So and they'll try to keep you back. Once I got up to the kitchen line, I played fine. Like I won hand battles against some of these pro players. Like I beat Chris Allain in a couple hand battles. I got some ATPs and stuff like that.
Nice.
So like once I got up to the kitchen line, I was fine. But where they were really picking on me, because as soon as they noticed I was having a little bit of trouble with it, they were trying to keep me back on that line as much as possible. So, and then the other big thing is very few unforced errors.
Yeah.
And that was also the big difference for me. I had basically the equivalent, like you see the jump between like even a 4-0 to 4-5 to 5-0, just the amount of the fewer amount of unforced errors that happen. That was the big thing for me. I knew I was going to be in tough anyways, going into this, and I would have had to play the day of my life to like finish in this top bracket there, but that was really fun. Irene killed it on the women's side. She went 7-1.
Yeah, I saw that. She was like, it was like, oh my god, she went beast mode.
Yeah, she went ham on everyone, and by the end of the women's thing, all the women wanted to play with her and have a match because they knew they were going to get a guaranteed win. And so the way the qualifiers worked is, so you would play with a partner, and whether you won or lost, so if you won, you'd move up to the next court, and basically they did like a king's court thing. But when you and your partner won, whether you went up or went down, you would then split. So you'd play against your partner.
Okay.
Right. So say if you started on court 3 and you moved all the way up to court 1, the win on court 3, you would then play against that partner you played with on court 2. And if you move up to court 1, you'd then play against that partner you won with on court 2. So you were playing with someone different every single game. And then same thing, if you were on King's Court and you won, then you and your partner would split, and the two people who came up, then you'd play together, right?
You
So,
split with them.
so the fact that Irene went 7-1, she played with 8 different people for that record, right? So then, go ahead.
Yeah, I will say it was she played virtually everyone and probably almost beat everyone.
Yeah, I think she managed to beat. I don't think there was anyone that just had a win over her. It might have been like a 1-1 thing. Now, in comparison to last year when we went, the women's skill level pool was a little bit low, but once again, like Kim Layton wasn't there because she didn't need to be. Casey Rogers wasn't there, obviously, because she's still in Australia. She is eligible for the draft. I did talk to the CNPL guys for that, and she had got like an exemption letter because she's Australia playing. Same thing, like Leah Bradwell wasn't there. Like all these players that would normally be there weren't there. So the women's pool was a little bit watered down because of that. So that will kind of get looked at as the teams look at the thing. Irene did interview with the Wolverines. I know she talked to the GM of the Rollers and the GM of the Pronghorns because they were both there as well. Obviously, Brett Forsyth was there because he was looking at players. Then when we switched over to the mixed, same thing. I got they did a total of, 8 courts. And Irene started on court 3, lost her first game, and then after that, she, same thing, went up and was on court 1 or court 2 the rest of the day. I think she finished with like a 13-4 record between the women's doubles and the mixed. So she only lost like 3 matches in the mix. And same thing, playing with some of the higher level guys, Sonny Batar was there. He played for the Smash last year as an alternate. Same thing. Who was it? I'm forgetting the guy's name, but he was also an alternate for the Smash in the Western splits. And then Matt Sadola, who played for the Pronghorns last year, was there and playing. Obviously, Brett Forsyth was playing in a couple of those. So yeah, she was playing with those top male players. 1 or 2 of them, you can tell, have a bit of an ego and taking up like 90% of the court and running over some of their female partners, not just Irene, but some of their other partners as well, because you had a few women coming off the court complaining about it. The thing that I liked what Irene did is, excuse me, she went up to them and said, okay, what do you need me to do? Like, how much court are you going to take? What do you want to communicate? Like, are you taking all the high balls? Do you want to take this much? And one of my favorite ones was the guy originally was like, yeah, I'm going to take like 80% and I'm going to take all the high balls. And then so he starts doing that in the match, and it's kind of back and forth. And then they start trying to pick on Irene, and Irene makes like 3 beautiful like line shots down the line because the male on the other side is sheeting over.
Poach.
Yeah. And once she did that, her partner then gave her like, okay, now we're doing 60-40 because I trust you. Right. And it got to that point with like 3 or 4 different of those high level guys where they were like, no, I've watched you do it. You're good. I trust you to take it. So she kind of earned their respect with that. So yeah, so she finished the weekend as the second highest rated person and then the highest rated female out of that event. So super proud of her for that.
Yeah, congrats to her. Definitely.
Yeah, and then for me, for the mixed, same thing. I played pretty decent. I got kind of stuck in like that court 4, court 5 area. So I had to win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1 kind of thing like that. So, and then there was a few times where there was 1 or 2 ladies there who were a little bit older, who are, I'd say probably if they were playing in like the 45 or 50 plus category, they would be like a 4-5 or a 5-0. But playing against like people my age or younger,
yeah, that's a little bit rough,
right? It was a little bit rough, and so and because I'm not used to taking 80% of the court, like when I play with Irene, it's almost a 50-50 split.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So I'm used to having a female partner who I trust to take a lot of shots and stuff like that, right? So I had to kind of adapt my game to take a little bit more of the court, but then like the other team, as soon as they saw they were having issues, they were just there was one game I think I saw 5 balls. Like if I wasn't not counting the ones that got served to me type of thing. So
Oh yeah.
which is part of the game, and I understood that. And then because I'm, like I said, I'm not used to having to jump in and assert myself that much. There was probably some shots that were up a little bit that I probably could have stepped in and take, but I'm so used to just letting Irene take that shot because she's going to hammer it down the middle anyway, that I didn't. So like my reaction was like, I see it, but then there's like that half a second hesitation, and then by that time the ball's too far gone for me to swing at it. So
It's too late.
so yeah, so that was the other learning experience for me, is that okay, I have to be more aggressive when it's that kind of cross court dink, or even like say if my female partner does a third shot drop and they're trying to pop it, do a short drop back over, but it's high enough that I could technically run across, even if I'm taking 60% of the court or 70% of the court of this, and then finishing that shot off.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm trying. So that's what I've been working on this past week when I've gone to club play, is I'm trying to force myself. No, it's not. You're not being greedy. You're trying to win the point. So go in and take that. Go in and like poach that shot. Go in and take that type of thing like that. Because like before, like with Irene, I don't really have to worry about doing that because she's so good at getting those shots anyways. So that was the things I kind of took away from that for me. And then for Irene, she's pretty much did as much as she could to get her name into the hat. And when we go move on to the next spot with the with our little pre-draft thing here, we'll talk about that more. But she couldn't have had pretty much couldn't have had a better weekend, and she made people look at her. So I'm super stoked for that.
No, that's good, because I think by having that result, like she definitely gonna like, I will say, if it's a team that needs some, like usually female should be something that every team should look at, right? Because if you have a pretty strong female team, like all the men's, like the higher level men's are pretty equal to each other. But the women's, that's where makes the difference. Like if you have a strong woman, then you know that like this guy does not need to poach that much. Like he's gonna need to be just focused on his 50%, and then they're gonna be able to earn that match. Versus that if they pick someone very weak female, okay, now this guy has to poach 80 to 90%. Well, now you have to defend now, not just against the other guy, you have to defend also against another strong woman. And that's sometimes, unfortunately, that's the match.
Yeah, and if last year was any account of that, like if you look at the draft picks from last year, the first, what was it? The first out of the first 10 picks, 8 of them were women out of the draft last year. So so I got a feeling now this year will be a little bit different because of the teams being able to keep players. I got a feeling that that's going to maybe change a little bit. And with some of the bigger names that didn't play last year coming in, that's going to adjust the draft a little bit. I got a feeling we might see a few more guys get picked higher up this year, just with like players like Ernesto or Luis Charles Amat playing this year. I got a feeling those guys might go a little bit higher than like, because what was it? Brett Chapman was what, 6th, and then there was one other person like 9th, and then like other than until we got to like 15, 16, everything was females, right? So I got a feeling that that's going to be kind of the space, but I did kind of break it down here. So the draft order for this year, so Lions get the first pick, Rollers get the second, the Smashers supposed to get the third, but now they've traded those, at least their first 3 picks to the Rush. So their third round, their 4th round, and their 5th round are going to the Rush.
Okay, wow.
Then we have the Brewers, the Pronghorns, and then normally the Rush would be here, but same thing. The 3rd and 4th and 5th round picks, the Smash are getting. So for the Smash, I think that's a decent trade-off because, like we said, you got the 1 and 2 female for that trade-off, and then Wolverines, and then United finish off, and like United is literally just going to be picking their alternates this year because they kept all 4 of their core players. So I don't think United's too worried about that. And if we want to do we can do a quick recap. So the Lions and the Rollers didn't keep anybody, so they're going to get all their picks right off the hop. So Lions are going to get first dibs. This is where I think probably Ernesto is going to get picked first.
Well, it's from Montreal anyway.
By the Lions from Montreal. And from what if this league is going to be anything, if we want to use NHL or NBA as an example, it looks like it's going to be kind of a copycat league where the team that won last year, the other teams are going to kind of try and use that system that they did. If you look at the Toronto United team, all the players except for Hannah are from Toronto. So they could play with each other, they could practice with each other without it being a big hassle. Now Hannah, of course, is playing in the States, but then she still had the ability to come up like a week before an event and practice with everyone. And because she's such a high level, for her to adjust isn't as big of a deal. Right. But then if you look at some of the teams that had some players from the West Coast, some players from the East Coast, aside from maybe going a couple of days before the event and practicing together, there wasn't a lot of practice time. So I have a feeling that the teams are gonna they're gonna have their like kind of who you call their star player or their star two players, and they're probably gonna pick to kind of support them around that. So for example, we want to take the Pronghorns, for example. So you have Kim Brent and Brad Chapman. Now, Kim's listed as from Toronto, but I'm not sure if she's not from Toronto, from Vancouver, but I'm not sure if she still lives there or if she lives in Toronto because I think she was at the Toronto qualifier. But and then Brad's from Calgary. So realistically, if you're the Pronghorns, you're probably going to want to pick people from around West Coast area. So at least that way they are somewhat close to Calgary. So or Brad's somewhat close to them. So then they can pick and get more practice. Last year they had Matt Sadola, and Matt Sadola is of course from like Lower Mainland BC. So for him or Brad to go play with each other, it wasn't as much of an issue, right? Like, and they played Western Regionals together last year when it was hosted in Medicine Hat. So I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of that this year. So there might be some people who get passed up, not necessarily for skill reasons, but because of location reasons. And this is where that kind of comes in.
Yeah, I agree. Makes sense too, because if you can practice with each other, like what's the point about that team tournament, right? If you and I heard a lot about like the PPA players, like why a lot of players now move to like Texas, right? Because a lot of those good players like Riley Newman, like the Zane Navarto, the Johns brothers, they like even the some of the Waters also they have even a residence in Texas because all those people want to practice with each other, right? Same to Florida, you have all the Johnson brother sister and the Johnson Five, the Paris Todd, the Hunter Johnsons, they're all in Florida, right? So that's the only way you're gonna get good reps is play with those people that you're always playing against, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like we said, Lions and Rollers don't have anyone signed, so they're going to be coming in fresh. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Ernesto goes first because he's from Montreal. The Smash get that, or sorry, not the Smash. The Rush then get the third pick because they got that from the trade. So the Rush have Jordan, Bradwell, and then they also have Forsyth. So actually, they're going to have to wait till the fourth because they kept Forsyth. So it's actually probably going to go to the Brewers next. The Brewers only kept, oh my God, why am I blanking on names here? They only kept Mark Clemenson, so they're probably going to go for a female right away. And that was, remember, we talked about that before when they made that trade. They trade Christina away for Nathan Choi. I have this confirmed now. They were planning on signing Nathan, and then they didn't because they wanted to keep a high pick open for a female player. So once again, you still kind of question, okay, if you were going to do that, why'd you make the trade in the first place? But basically, like I said, you traded away the number two female, technically, if you go by last year's rankings, for nothing. So they'll probably go for a female. Pronghorns have Chapman and Brent, so depending on who's available, depends on if they'll go for a male or female. Then you got the Smash. They're going to be going for men for their first two picks because they got Christina and they got Kim right off the hop. Wolverines have Joel and Hatto, so they're going to be going for women right off the hop. And then, like I said, United, they're going to pick one guy, one girl. I wouldn't be surprised unless someone else who did a really good showing at one of these qualifiers isn't picked yet if they don't just go with Godfried's brother for the men's, and then I'm not sure who will go for the female. So if we look at the so there's 48 spots, 24 men, 24 female. Now if we team players resign, so that drops it down to 33 spots. So 16 men, 16 women left. Then we have the players who were drafted last year but haven't been re-signed yet. Which would be Nathan Choi, Casey Rogers, Jessica Kwanamoto, Emily, Jonas Dahl here, and then Asuko Ozawa. Now, I have an asterisk beside her because I don't know how healed she is from her ACL tear that she sustained in the semis last year. So I have her listed as possibly being re-signed, but I think she's only like 5 weeks into recovery. She was there watching the qualifiers, but she had a bit of a limp when she was watching and she wasn't playing. So I don't know if she's going to be healed up in time to play. Just seeing other people go through that injury, I don't think she'll and if it was up to me, if I was the general manager, I'd probably say, okay, how about you sit this year out, get yourself fully healed, and then don't waste a signing spot on her. Right?
Yeah.
And then you have Matt Sadola, Jeff Elwood, rounding out those ones who were drafted last year. Obviously, the Walker sisters aren't playing this year because they're exclusively signed with PPA. And then there's two other players who I probably don't think will be re-signed. I also didn't see them at either of the qualifiers. So that drops it down to 26 spots, 12 men, 14 women left. Now, I couldn't see a lot of the new qualifier stuff. The stuff I got, and I'll stick it in a little picture here if you're watching video. I took snapshots of like the video highlights from the other qualifiers where they showed like the leaderboard list. Just going off of that, so the new people who most likely to get drafted would be Ernesto, Luis Charles Amat, who's already signed with the CPA Pro Tour, Hermentes, Torreson, and then Rosati, I think is how you pronounce that woman's last name. They all finished super, super high in their respective qualifiers, all on the East Coast there. So like Luis Charles Mott, I think, had the best record out of any qualifier across all three. He went like, I think it was like 18-1.
Wow. Or
something like that. Like he just destroyed everybody. Same thing. Like I think the closest person to him was Jessica Kwanamoto, and she did like an 18-2 or an 18-3 or something like that. Over her.
And we pretty much sure Jessica's gonna get signed anyway.
Yeah,
it's not like...
yeah, exactly. So yeah, if we're just going with the new faces, so that's 4 men, 1 female from what I saw. And so that's then that drops it down to 21 spots, 8 men, 13 women remain. And then from the Eastern and the Central qualifiers, I don't really know enough about everyone, and of course the matches aren't posted there. Now, we can go with the fact that the women's section was probably a little stronger in at least 1 or 2 of those. Because, of course, you had Jessica, you had Quanamo playing it, you had Emily playing with it, Kim Brent was playing them, right? So you had some of those pro-level players already playing in those. Mm-hmm. But if we're to look at just the Western qualifiers, I have 4 men and 4 women who I think have a decent shot of getting drafted.
Including Irene?
Including Irene's one of them, yes, obviously because she finished. The other 3 women would be Isabel Tang, who played really, really, really well while she was there. We got to meet her, and she's super, super nice. Sabrina Lamb as well played awesome. I think she had Sabrina Lamb had the next best record female-wise to Irene, and then Isabel was just below the 2 of them. Then Caitlin Soroka would be the other female. Now, Caitlin didn't have the best qualifier, but the fact that she's kind of a proven entity in Alberta, and she's played with a lot of the big name players, like she's played with Brad, she's played with Joelle, she's played with Haddo, and she's proven herself on the bigger stages like provincials and stuff like that. So she kind of has that. If you don't take if it's not just the qualifier in a vacuum, she has that kind of cemented background.
Is she the partner of Brad Chapman?
she's his fiance.
Here we go.
Yeah, she's Brett's fiance. So and then they just got engaged New Year. So congrats to them. But Caitlin normally plays. At least the last couple tournaments I watched her play mix, she played with Voj. Of you know who that is, right? Wojciech. Yeah, he's got that really long Polish, really long Polish last name. And they usually clean up pretty well in like the 4-5s categories and stuff like that. So just with Caitlin's background, with over the last couple years of pickleball, because she's been ranked in like the top 10 for females in Alberta. So I'm giving her the props for that. Like I said, she played pretty well. It was just a lot of that. She got stuck, I know, in the women's in like the first, second, and third court. So it was like win 2, lose 2, win 2, lose 1, win 1, lose 2 type of thing like that. So like if you look at her record, I think it was just over 500, but it wasn't like spectacular, insanely spectacular. But like I said, she's got the resume to back that up, or to back her up as well. The 4 men who have the best chance, I think, Eugene Mack, who he had the best record out of anybody. I got to play with you. I didn't get to play with him this year, but I got to play with him last year, and just his jump in his skill level and his consistency is insane. He's got a killer serve return with a crap ton of cut. You look at it, it looks like a knuckleball coming at you when he does his serve return and stuff. And he's got really good deceptive shots when he's up at the line. He basically was sitting on court 1 for both the men and the mixed side almost the entire day. Nice. And I don't remember this gentleman's first name, but his last name is Bandal. If you go on Instagram, his handle is Ball and Cuts because he's a barber. Same thing, very, very strong player. He played last year, and same thing, the jump in skill from last year to this year at the qualifier was insane. Him and Irene played really, really well together. And very, very strong, very powerful player. And then Sunny Batar, who, like I said, he was an alternate last year for the Smash and played in the on the championship weekend for them. Sunny played really, really well. Irene played really well with him. And then Ozawa, that's the last name. I don't know what relation he has to Etsuko. I don't know if it's a husband or if it's a brother or a cousin or something, but like she was there cheering him on. He played really, really well as well, and he was one of the other top ranked males. So those kind of are my 4 from the Western qualifiers who have who I would say have the best shot out of anybody in the Western qualifiers who hasn't been drafted before. And then if we're looking at, so if we're saying, okay, these are the people in the West, and if you look at the teams that are looking for players in the West, so you got the Rush, who are pretty much just looking for a male and then 2 alternates. The Wolverines, who are looking for 2 females and 2 alternates because they already got Joelle and Hato. So their men's side is already kind of stacked.
Yeah, just
right. So then you're looking for 2 strong females. And then with the Rollers are technically a West team. So I don't know what the Rollers are looking for, but I also don't know where they're actually properly supposed to be situated because I think the owners are from Toronto, but the Rollers are supposed to be one of the West teams.
Yeah, I don't know. That was
right.
Weird.
So I'm not sure what they're going to go for picking for players there. And then you have the Pronghorns as well, and they have Brad and Kim, so they're looking for both a male and a female. So it depends because Kim's so high rated and Brad's so high rated. I'm interested to see what they pick first, whether it's a male or a female player, right? So it's but those are kind of the best shots for those players, just because, like we said earlier, that the teams are probably going to be looking more local, or at least within the region, so that way it's easier to get some team practices together, some team drilling exercises and stuff. And like I said to Ariane, I said your best bet is possibly like if you do get drafted, maybe the Wolverines or the Pronghorns, because like, you know, Joel's from Red Deer and Hatos from Calgary or something like that. So it's like, okay, for you to drive to Red Deer for like a weekend isn't that big of a deal type of thing. Like if you guys want to get some drilling, and same thing, like Brad's located in Calgary. So same thing if you guys want to meet in Red Deer or meet in Calgary or meet.
Yeah, it's much easier.
Right. It's much easier than say if they pick someone from Toronto and then that person.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Training, right. So I said, that's why I said to her, I said, your best probably two bets are probably the Pronghorns and the Wolverines, just because the Smash already have two female players, and they're
Agreed.
looking for a guy first, right? So fingers crossed that Irene gets picked. We'll find out on the 2nd. So April 2nd is the draft. And I told
Yes, coming
Irene,
up.
yeah, it's coming. By the time this thing gets posted, it'll be like in like 3 days. So, fingers crossed. And I already told Irene, I said, if you get a phone call before the draft happens saying that you've gotten signed, don't tell me and just let me react to the draft video. So because that'll just be a good video to look at. So I'm really looking forward to this. Because was that a Tuesday? This Tuesday or this Monday coming up? I don't remember.
April. You said April 3rd,
April
2nd. So Tuesday.
Yeah. So this Tuesday coming will be the draft. So keep your eyes peeled on that, everyone. Yeah,
good luck to Irene. I'm pretty sure she's gonna get picked. I'm pretty sure with her.
I'm hoping so. Like I said, with the way she played, and then seeing the general managers that were there looking and saying like, "Oh, who's that?" and then the interviews that she did with a couple of them, I'm really hoping. Like, and then, like I said, I told her, I said, even if it's just as the alternate female, you're gonna get to go practice with these pro level players, and then, like I said, you'll get to go to these events. And get paid to get to these events, right? So it's like, I said, and if that's the case, when the CPA tour does come to whether it's Edmonton or Calgary, don't be surprised if you get a call from one of those higher level men players asking if you want to play at that level. And I told her, I said, I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, like, yes, me and her like to play together and go to tournaments together, but if she's got the chance to play in a pro level, I'm not going to stand in the way in that. I don't have my ego is not that big. So
you're a good husband then.
Yeah. Thanks. So I'm super proud of her. And I guess we'll see where it goes. So April 2nd for the draft, and we'll stay tuned for that.
There's a few PPA and APP tournaments went by between our last podcast, but there's just one PPA event I want to talk about. Like, this is the event of the year that you want to do. That if you missed it, you missed it. The PPA Austin Open. I call that the upset city, right? So why do I say that? So we're all aware about the Johns, the Waters has been winning nonstop, and then okay, we're getting tired. We need someone to beat them, but who's gonna beat them? Here we go. We finally got our answer. So this time in the men's double, interesting team, the Christian Auchan and Zainavito team took down the Johns brothers in quarterfinals. Okay, let me explain, however, how that tournament works, unfortunately. So it does have a lot of rain delay. That tournament did not run very well. They have to change venues like multiple times because of the rain. And instead of a championship Sunday, they went to a championship Monday. So, which is a little bit weird. So in theory, the Johns and the Waters did not lose in championship Sunday. Okay, so in theory, they're still undefeated in Sundays. But okay, so I said the Christian Auchan and Zainavito beat them, and they back it up all the way to the finals. But then unfortunately, they got beat by Diaries and Matt Wright. So which is a pretty surprising team. Like no one thought about that. What is more surprising is the mix double. So the Annalie Waters and Johns did make it to the final, but got beat by Diaries and Anna Bright. Like, whoa, okay, what is going on? Who is Andrew Diaries? Like people were saying. Like, we know he's a good APP player, but we didn't know that he had that capability to really beat the big guys. But if you look at it, I'll go for the women's doubles now. The Waters and Perrin make it to the final, but loses to Anna Bright and Rachel Rothbacher. So now if you look at it, who are the winners? You have Diascute, Bright, Rockbrocker, and also you have Zane Navito that make it to the final. Who are those 4 people? They're on the MLP Orlando Squeeze team. Those 4 people are on the same team, and they all made either one or made it to the finals. So that I'll say that's why last year at the MLP they won quite a bit of a tournament altogether, and then that now the result backed it up in PPA. And if you also take a look, there's now more APP players now winning on the PPA level. So let me finish the results. So men's singles, Ben Johns won against Federico Statsgroup, and women's singles, you have Judith Castillo wins against a Christian. Those 2 players plays in APP. Okay, to be fair, why there's no Waters? Because she pulled out on her singles, because she said she's probably sustained some injury on her ankle, so she wanted to focus on her doubles game. And I did watch the match on her women's doubles. It doesn't seem like she is hurt or something. She was still running all over the court, but she was I would say a little bit slower on her hand speed than you.
I saw a few highlights and I noticed that too. Like I know the winning points for both her and Parento's lost, and then her and John's lost. She's the one putting it into the net.
Exactly,
for the final couple of points there.
So that was kind of a little. Maybe she was a little hurt. That could be the reason. But still, like, you still need to be consistent to beat them, right? Because they are the best team to come from behind, right? Even though they're not at their best level, right? To be fair, also another thing was bothering those players is the win. The win was a big factor in Austin Open, and the Johns brother, like you look at Ben Johns, he didn't want to be there. He just wanted to leave the court. So it's just unfortunate. But yeah, so that was one of the biggest upset of the year. I will say. People was talking, is it the end of the Ben Johns era? Is it the end of the Anthony Waters era? I won't say so. It's just one tournament, and this tournament has been like a lot of like back and forth. They have to move to another court. The condition was really odd. So it is actually a good condition if you're like a banger or a people that likes playing fast, compared to the Johns brothers like loves to play the dinking game. So unfortunately, is what it is. So we'll see on the next PPA if the Johns and Waters bounce back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I could see maybe someone saying that for Ben Johns, because he has been losing a little bit more often this year. But this is like the first little like kink in the road for Waters. So the end of the Waters era, I don't know about that. It's like, oh wow, the first time she's lost like everything. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's the first time she didn't even have a gold medal.
Yeah, right.
Think about that, she did not.
Yeah, whereas this year Johns has been like slowly, you can see people chipping away and like singles at him and stuff like that. So I'm like, hey, maybe they're starting to catch him a little bit, at least to some extent, where he's pushing himself to the brink now to win. But for Waters, I'm going to toss this up as not a great tournament. And like you can see when they lost the mixed, she kind of like almost stormed off the court.
Yeah,
like she was just like mentally not in it, or not.
She doesn't want to be there. Leave.
Yeah. So now that also comes with like, we can say that, oh yeah, well they didn't like the conditions. Well, the other players had to play in those conditions as well, and they also had to move around. So, but yeah, people saying the end of the Waters era, I don't know about that. We'll see how they, like you said, we'll see how they bounce back on the next
one. Definitely. All right. Let's go to the next. I will say it's still a good topic to talk, is about the tour wars. So we're talking like in the US, the PPA and the MLP they finally announced. well, actually they finalized, is they merge it. And a couple days ago, they actually the PPA announced they're gonna merge, and they're gonna go under the brand United Pickleball Association.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, interesting. They're trying to merge everything together. But another thing was that was interesting on the 24th of March. They suddenly say, oh, the PPA, we're gonna a couple of APP pros are signing with us. So who are they? You have Roscoe Bellamy. He's a APP player, not a very strong player, but she still play most of the APP. And then you have the Hunters and the Yates Johnson. So sign with the PPA. Then you have Alex Tuong, also the signing of the PPA. She's a rising star from the APP too, and also Craig Johnson. So you're like, oh, interesting. Why PPA now signing APP player, right? So like, what is going on? Is it because the PPA wants to continue to chip into APP, or that was I found that was a little odd to me. Like, or maybe those players is thinking, oh, if I don't sign with PPA, I'm not going to be able to be drafted on MLP, and which is kind of confirmed in some of the podcasts from if you have heard King of the Court from what was his name from King of the Court. I just blanking his the pro's name. And anyway, he one of the podcaster is the manager of one of the MLP teams, and they actually confirming that if you didn't agree on what the PPA have re-signed with the old MLP contract, you're not eligible to be drafted with the MLP. So that's probably why. So a couple of stir ups. So you have Roddy Newman that refused to sign with the PPA, and he say, I want to keep my MLP, my old MLP contract. So now he's not going to play a lot of PPA tournaments anymore, because he's not going to have any incentive from the PPA when he's going to play on the tournaments. So what is going on when you're signing? You sign a signed player in PPA, so you do not have to pay for the registration fee, which is about $200 or $300 already. That's quite significant if you're playing a lot of tournaments. And now you do not have any appearance fee versus what the signed PPA pros has. So which is a little bit troublesome. With his old contract now, so means that in order to get paid by the MLP, he has to do a lot of clinics. He has to do something like in the around 150 hours of clinics that the MLP puts on for the amateur. So that was kind of an interesting decision from Riley Newman not signing with the PPA. And then you have the Johnson 5, so like the the Dean Fraser, JW, all those players. The Johnson 5 did sign only with the MLP and did not sign with the PPA. So now you see them now play more APP tournaments than PPA events because of that kind of stir up. So it's going to be interesting why PPA did not negotiate a contract with the Johnsons, because if they are kind of a big asset to the tour, and they are kind of the upcoming guys to beat the Johns brothers, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, that probably also explains why Hannah Blatt's been able to play in the CNPL this year, because he had an MLP contract, not a PPA contract.
Yeah.
So probably that loophole in the MLP where you can play for other organizations, because like I know the Walker sisters are signed exclusively to PPA, so that's why they're not playing in the CNPL this year. So
No, you're right, because that's what they said. The MLP contract does not bound you to only play on the MLP on the PPA. Yes, you have to have certain amount of appearance for the MLP, but does not preclude you playing all the other contract.
Yeah.
However, the waters, so the entity waters and lay waters, they have a different contract with the PPA, so that allows her to play at the U.S. Open. So that's a
Yeah, and they signed that, but they probably signed that a while ago. Didn't they sign that like 3 or 4 years ago or something like that?
No, I think what from the podcast from Zane with them, they renegotiate that contract not long ago. So because if you look at a couple years ago, they didn't play U.S. Open, and suddenly they said they're gonna play this year. It's because they renegotiated that contract to allow them to play other event than PPA.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd be against them playing in the U.S. Open. I guess you can worry about injuries or something like that, but it's the U.S. Open. It'd be like the equivalent of the CPA Pro Tour saying, "Oh, you can't play at nationals."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I know.
right. I know the CPA Pro Tour in Canada is like you can't play for another organization that's not CPA. Aside from like they don't count the CNPL, but you can't play for another pro tour. So like if you sign for the CPA, you can't play for like the NAPP type of thing like that, right? But you can still play in nationals and stuff like that. So it's interesting. Like when it's that big of an event and it's like the like national tournament, I don't know why you wouldn't want this. It's like another promotion for your thing for them to be playing in that. So
yeah, it was just interesting decision, but anyway, so a little bit the same thing. The draft actually happened at the same time at the CNPL. So the MLP is actually having their draft date at the same time at the CNPL. So the premier will be on this April 2nd, and the challenger will be on April 3rd. They will have 10 event. And their first event is gonna happen in May in Atlanta. So we'll see how it goes. I would say it lost some steam, unfortunately, from that merger, demerger, not merger. So
yeah.
Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Folks that is listening right now, you should hold off buying paddles right now. So why I'm saying that, the April, May is gonna be mayhem. It's gonna be paddle mayhem. I call that. Why I say that? All right. So the Yola, all the new Yola Alpha 2024 will be releasing in April. So a lot of people has been having a little bit of review of them. They say they hit like Gearbox, the Gearbox Pro, so they hit super hard. So and it seems to be a like a better paddle than they what have from last year. So they actually have a better hype than last year. So therefore, if you like your Yola and you like the having more power, wait for it. It's coming. What else is coming? If you're in, so a lot of people currently for some reason 6-0, the Ruby, so the Kevlar paddles is being sold out for many times for X reason. Even though a lot of people say it's not a big upgrade from the double back diamond. I think it's just people likes the cutter. But if you like to have some alternative, some paddles are coming. You have the 11-624 that's going to come with a blue Kevlar instead of a red Kevlar. So it's going to be an interesting paddle to come. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I see you're laughing.
No, yeah, it's like, oh, the new Air Jordans are blue instead of red or something like that.
I know. And then you have and then you have another companies called Thrive. It's coming up with the Azul. Actually, the pre-order is today. Same thing as a blue Kevlar instead of red Kevlar or whatever. Okay, interesting. interesting. And then people that love like those in the lower price range called the rhombus, like a lot of people compare to the Vatic. So the rhombus now coming with the new ethics model. So you still have the R1, R2, R3 shape, but this one will it's going to be coming soon. Apparently, it's a new mold that they did, and will have a little bit better power and pop on those paddles. So it's also coming around, I would say, May, like beginning of May timeframe. So that's another paddle coming in. And if you guys like the on the Discord or on the social media, so Bread and Butter, they are very active on the Discord. So and they usually comes up with some weird names and just fun names. They coming with the new paddles called the Shotgun. So
the Shogun?
Hmm?
The Shogun?
Yeah, the Shogun. So sorry, the Shogun. So anyway,
If they don't do a samurai joke with like the commercial for it, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
They actually gotta come with a T-shirt with the samurai thing on it.
Oh,
so
awesome. Okay, that's good then.
Yeah, so also I was like, probably gonna buy it just for the T-shirt, just to intimidate my opponent. Right. So it's apparently they said they're gonna put some new technology on this paddle. It's gonna be an elongated paddle. So I already saw the image of the mode, but what kind of new technology I don't know yet. So that's what they have been working on that paddle. Another paddle just came out. I already talked on last part. The PIKKL, so the pickle. So that paddle will have the pro skin onto it. So so what I'll just re-explain what's the pro skin. So basically, usually we have our paddle, right? We have our paddle, carbon fiber paddle. After multiple session of playing, it kind of wear off. Even those carbon fiber is better than paint grit. So PIKKL did come with a solution, so you can stick kind of a surface on your paddle, so it's going to rejuvenate your paddle spin and anything. Problem is, you're not sticking a carbon fiber sheet. So you're probably just sticking a sheet that has a little bit of better paint grit onto it. The other thing that people was kind of questioning is how's the durability of that sheet? How does it really gonna last? Do I have to take it out after a game or 2 games? What's going on? And on the Discord, a lot of people is questioning the company, and they're not responding to any of our questioning. So makes especially me a little bit skeptical. What's going on? Why you're not saying? Why you're not telling us, like the consumer, what that sheet's gonna be? And one last thing is, they should, if they could, they should make that sheet kind of moldable or adjustable for every other paddle in the market, so that will actually incentivize people to try to buy that sheet. I will say, if they do that, what's the problem is going to be as a referee? So then you can put that sheet on and say it's USAP approved, but it's a total different paddle that you have underneath. So I will say that could be the problem as a referee on this, right? And today Engage came out with the Engage that Pro 1. So they have a little different shape of the paddle. It's still elongated paddle, but they have a rounded edge, a little bit like the Hyperion. And I will say that, and what they advertise as technology, nothing very particular. So if you have an Engage Pro already, Pro Pursuit, I will probably hold off on buying the Pro 1. That doesn't actually give you much of difference. But otherwise, what other paddles coming out. The Vatics are coming out with their new mode, and then you have 6-0 that's coming with their elongated paddle soon. So I'll expect they're coming in the next month. So therefore, if you're saying, if you want to buy a new paddle for your next tournament, I will say hold off for now. You might have a lot of different new choices before you want to make that decision, because when all these come up, you're gonna be, what is going on? Why did I buy this paddle, not that paddle? So just, I will say wait for more information to come before you want to buy new paddles. One more thing I want actually want Andrew to talk. So Andrew actually went he told me, yeah, he actually during that Western Regional he played against someone that has a oil paddle. So that paddle that's past the quiet list, right? So how was it?
It does live up to the quiet name, that's for sure. Holy crap. Yeah, I did play against a gentleman who had this owl paddle. And it does, like, I let him, I said, just asked him when we were after we were done playing if I could just feel the surface, and it literally feels like you're rubbing your hand on like that felt type of surface. And it is very, very quiet, which was actually kind of throws you off your game when you're playing against it. I didn't realize how much I also rely on my hearing when I'm reacting to someone's hit, whether it was a dink or a slam. And especially for the slam, there was one instance where my partner went to do a third shot drop and they popped it up in the air. And so this guy came and slammed it down. And because the sound was so quiet, instead of you hearing that big, like, kind of slam sound, it was more like a little tap. Right. And yet the ball still comes at you at a decent speed. Like, I can safely say it's not as powerful as something like my Nivea or like any of the Gearbox or anything like that, for sure. But it still gets the job done. He still had a fair amount of speed, a fair amount of power. But yeah, it took me like 4 or 5 points to adjust how I reacted. Because same thing, I'd be dinking cross court with him, and like you're expecting to hear that little tap as the ball comes back over, and it almost was like I dinked him, and then it was almost like a silence almost coming back over. So for those of you who do want to be quiet and you don't want to bug your neighbors, if you're in like a very rural area, like for our St. Albert friends,
yeah,
the ball
definitely.
course are in a dead middle of a residential area, it is very good for that. But the gentleman seemed to do decent shots. He had good control and stuff. So that all seems to hit well. Like I said, it just took me a couple of points to adjust how I reacted. So if you want to get this paddle just to screw up your opponent's game, or like Victor's probably going to go buy this now, and then mid game he's going to switch to it just to screw people up. So
yeah, well, actually,
yeah,
to be honest with you, yeah, I'm going to the States in May because I have a dental course over there. My plan is to go get some weird paddles back. So this is one of my paddle. And then I probably also get that EVA foam paddle, that diadem vice, just to screw even more people off with that.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, especially I'm playing on some ladders here in Edmonton. I was just like, you know what? I gotta take that channel, just slam people with, and then well, you can't tell me it's not legal. It's not a tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Now, yeah, especially now that it's a legal paddle. So yeah, it was interesting to see how it played. Now I don't know if this is just how the gentleman played. He didn't have a lot of spin or anything with his shots, but I don't know if that's just how he played. So I can't really give you an idea of how well it spins the ball or grips with it. But like it lives up to that quiet name for sure. And yeah, if you just want to mess with someone's kind of sensory mid match, bring that as a second paddle just to switch.
Oh yeah. I'll definitely do that. Like I
Make
did.
him mad at Victor at a later tournament when I'm playing against him. And he switches to that.
Only that tournament. Remember that Lucky the Irish tournament. I did use all my 4 paddles.
Oh,
like all the referee when they come in, they're like, oh my god, I have to check all 4 paddles.
Yep.
Like, what's going? Like, she's like, I gotta check you last, and then and then the final match was Gloria with that was refereeing my match. She's like, you need to use all 4 paddles if you break off our paddle. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And I did use all 4 paddles just to screw my opponent off just a little bit.
That'll do it.
Well, it works. Like, if you need to win, like you have to do something.
You can do anything
within your legal limit.
Anything within the rules to win. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, in tennis, that's what you do too, right? You're like, oh, my racket is not doing good. Like, I don't like that string tension. You go change your racket, right? So you're not gonna tell your opponent, I'm sorry, I'm gonna change racket. No, let's just go change, right? So that's totally within your legal limit. It's just some people might say, well, I'm used to that paddle. I suddenly gonna have to readjust to the other paddle. But if you have played enough with all those paddles, so you know when you're gonna need to change. And sometimes, just for me, most of the time, it's not really doing anything. It's just basically for me to mentally refocus, saying, hey,
yeah,
I just need something to refocus. Like, remember the game that we were playing, we were losing 10-3, and then we just stormed back because I just changed paddle. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, Victor, before we leave, do you have any tournaments coming up?
I do not have any tournaments coming up until the summer. I will say my next tournament is going to be the Summer Smash in June at Spruce Grove. So this year I'll be limiting myself only playing men's doubles and not mixed doubles this year. And I'm not going to play singles neither, because I want to also focus at the same time on referee. So I'm trying to go get my certification for referee. So that's why I kind of have to balance out a little bit between playing and refereeing. And if I play too much, then I can ref, or I'll be too tired to ref. So that will be my next tournament, and then I'll play the provincials. I'm not gonna I will be in the Western Regional, but I won't be playing the Western Regionals. And then I'll play probably a couple of smaller one in St. Albert and probably Red Deer, but that's it. I changed plans a little bit. I was planning to go to the national, so I'm undecided. I might not go to the nationals. I'm still have to work my schedule for that, but that's my current plan. How about you, Andrew?
Mine's going to depend on what happens on April 2nd.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
If Irene gets drafted, that I'm because of my new job, I don't have a limited amount of time I can book off. So depending on if Irene gets drafted, I'm obviously going to book off when the CNPL is in Alberta, just to go to cheer her on, because I'm not going to miss that. Also, there's a few other things coming up and I'll talk to Victor about this off the podcast because I can't say anything about it yet, but there's a few other things possibly coming up that I might prioritize over me playing consistently. So, but I'm hoping to do obviously provincials. Other than that one, for now, I would like to go to Western Regionals if I can. But like I said, the outcome of if Irene gets drafted or not will drastically affect my schedule. So we'll find out after that. And then there's a few other things possibly coming down the chute. Nothing's confirmed yet, but that also might change up my schedule a bit.
I see. Yeah.
But it seems like it's gonna be an exciting year for both of us and for the podcast. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'll be also in Minnesota in July. So I'll see if I can meet up with Chris Ocean from Pickleball Studio, see if I can go meet him.
Oh, absolutely. And if you can get an interview, we can always just plug that on the podcast after. There you go.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun if I can see if I can find him. That's the problem. I have to find him first, right?
You just gotta look at his socials. Just stalk him on his socials and you'll find him.
Yeah, probably I'll go do that. I'll just knock at his door. Hey Chris, I need a podcast now.
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, so after the draft, we'll probably, if not that same week, depending on me and Victor's availability, if we can chat, we'll discuss that off camera. If not the same week as the draft, the very next week. So you're going to be getting back-to-back podcasts pretty quickly here, and we'll do a full reaction and review, and then we'll do our way too early predictions on which team we think is going to come away with the whole thing. So I did pretty well last year when I did it by myself. I had the top 3 teams. I just didn't have them in the right order, so I was happy about that. I actually had Yui and Mike both tell me that when I was at the Western Qualifiers, saying, "Oh yeah, you actually called those pretty well. Who do you think's getting it this year?" I said, "Well, we'll wait and see who gets drafted." So
too bad there's no money on the line. Otherwise, there will be.
Well, that's what I said. Fun. I said I should have put money somewhere. There should have been like a BetMGM thing or something. Something
yeah, exactly.
That I could have put money on. Because I actually think I would have done pretty well, but. All right, so thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks again, as always, Victor, and we will see you guys in either a week or 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. I'll be excited. Take care, guys.